What's up, everybody? So I just beat Callisto Protocol on PC. I stayed away from the reviews, haven't watched a single one. Now I tried to stay out of my mentions because I posted screenshots on Twitter, posted a clip on Twitter, but I did catch in the mentions a 5, and it looked like it was from IGN. If that's the case, in my opinion, that's way off the mark. Way off the mark. Let's get right into it, okay? Graphically, now I played it on PC. Disclaimer, PC performance was not good. When I first fired it up Saturday morning, it was borderline unplayable. I was dropping frames like to 14 FPS. Unplayable. Turned it off. I guess it was a patch. Fired it up. I had relatively smooth performance. I played for about 5-6 hours straight. That's very, very rare for me to do. I was getting dips into the 50s, but relatively, it felt okay. It felt playable. Nothing like that before. The following day, which was yesterday or last night when I beat it, I was catching frame drops into the 30s. Playing on high, 1440p. PC performance is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. If you only got a PC to play it, I'd skip it for now. Get it on sale because the performance is pretty inexcusable. I'll put my specs in the description. PlayStation 5, I bought on PS5, bought on Series X. PS5 seems to be really good. It looks great, it looks fantastic. Listen, graphically, this game is phenomenal. I think it looks insane. I think it looks next generation. Super impressed with the visuals, the art style, the aesthetic. I love everything about it. Now this is my kind of art style. These are my kind of graphics. Dark, gritty, feels hopeless. You know what I mean? I love these kind of games. And graphically, I was consistently impressed. I prefer this kind of art style to something like God of War. You know what I mean? You got the baddest man on the planet, aka Kratos, and we're walking through winter wonderland. You know what I mean? Whereas this feels real. This feels like it could be real. Granted, you know it's not, but it's just a more realistic, dark setting, and I really like that. Sound design, amazing. Sound design is top notch. Gameplay is questionable in the beginning. So when you first fire it up, you're gonna dodge with your left stick. You dodge left, right. This is probably flashing. And it seems like it has to be timed, but it's not. So when they're swinging, you just have to have the stick down to one side or down on the other side. Now, why Glenn Schofield or whoever made that decision is beyond me. After playing the game, I did get used to it. I did have fun with the melee combat, but I still feel like that was a bad design choice. It could have been better, maybe timed, a dedicated button. Maybe if they're swinging with the right hand, you have to dodge left. You know what I mean? So if you dodge the same direction, so like if he's swinging with his left hand and I dodge to the right, am I saying this right? Am I an idiot? Okay, so if he's swinging right and I dodge this way, that's good. So if I dodge with the hit, I should get hit. Okay? So if he's swinging this way and I dodge this way, I should get hit. It's not that way in Callisto. Something to make it feel more skill-based instead of just holding it down to one side, holding it down to the other side, waiting on the attacks. Now, at first it seems pretty like, this is like super duper easy. I only played on normal. The challenge comes when multiple enemies come at you at once. Then you can start really doing combinations and different kind of stuffs. The gameplay, the map design is your playground, if you will. What I mean by that is there's traps literally everywhere. Spinning fans, grinders, everything like that. And you've got a telekinesis module. And for me, that was my favorite part of the game. Telekinesis. Boom, boom, into something. You can chuck them anywhere you want. There's an upgrade system where you can upgrade everything. Pro tip, upgrade your baton because this is where most of your combat's going to be. Upgrade the baton, upgrade your telekinesis. The guns, after getting to the end of the game, I kind of wish I had an extended magazine on some of them, but the boss battles are like not until the end of the game, and I feel like the boss battles are pretty mediocre. But the combat The flow of the combat when there's multiple enemies, the baton, switching to the gun, and then using your telekinesis, very, very fun. Very fun. I had a blast. Took me 12 hours to beat it on normal. Now, some may say that's too short, but for me, that's perfect. That's how I want my games to be. This felt like an older game, like something like Dead Space. It's completely different from Dead Space, except for storylines. Storylines are somewhat similar, you know, whereas in Dead Space you had a marker, this you got an outbreak, and you got to figure out why. You know, you had an outbreak in Dead Space, and you had to figure out why, but it was, you know, like some satanic type thing. I'm not going to tell you what this is. So there's a couple of mechanics at work here that are confusing to me. So I turned off auto aim. You don't need it. When you hit an enemy, a target, a reticle will pop up on the enemy, and you shoot. It locks on. Even with auto aim off, it's going to lock on, and you shoot it. I thought I was going to have a problem with that, but it was actually kind of satisfying. The problem comes when tentacles start to come out. So about midway through the game, the enemy is going to start to transform. Tentacles are going to come out, and that means they're going to get stronger. You want to keep this from happening. So when you engage in melee, you'll see these coming out, and then you'll lock on to their head when it should be locked onto their chest, because if you shoot the tentacles, they'll die instantly. They won't transform. Now it's locked onto its head, and it stays locked on for like a second or two, and you're locked. You can't get it off. So the tentacles end up coming out and transforming it into a big beast, and now you got a problem because you got two other enemies to deal with. So that was a bit strange to me. I feel like I would have rather turned that off and not had it at all. So what ended up happening is I'm using my power swings instead of trying to use my combo swings. Does that make sense? So I'll hit them, or I'll block, I'll dodge, and then I'll use a power strike, telekinesis, chuck them out of there, use a gun, run backwards, wait for him to swing, then another power shot, instead of getting into a combo where I know it's going to lock onto a weak spot and keep me locked on. That way I can't shoot the tentacles. I don't know if any of this shit's making sense to you if you haven't played the game, but this I can tell you. In 12 hours time, I had a blast. I love navigating the terrain. I wanted to explore. I went through pretty much everywhere you can go in this game. Had a blast. Boss battle at the end, super duper annoying. Listen, a message to every developer out there, okay? I'm not a Souls fan, but Souls games, from everything I've seen, have the best boss battles in the business. Now, that's not to say they're perfect. I'm saying the boss battle itself, I think, is the best for what it is, minus your character being extremely gimped and like not having near the abilities that the boss has. Now that's why I feel like other games like God of War does way better, but the bosses just seem way more incompetent in games like God of War. Does that make sense? Unless you're fighting like the Valkyrie Queen or something like that. Basically, if you're in a boss battle and you got to throw all this other shit at you when I'm trying to fight the boss, to me that's bad design. In my opinion. You know what I mean? If I'm having to worry about all this other shit and the boss, you're just making the boss fight annoying. It's so annoying. I beat God of War, got to the end, I'm doing end game, I get to this gravestone, and 3 different bosses pop up. I'm fighting the one while 2 are throwing shit at me. I uninstalled the game, that's it, I'm done. I ain't got time for these cheap bullshit boss fights. That last boss fight in Callisto Protocol was super duper annoying. Super annoying. Beat it. I died like 10 times. I was ready to punch a hole through my monitor, man. I'm not even exaggerating. It's because the boss wasn't killing me. I was being killed by cheap bullshit attacks from other things. So graphically, it's a 10 out of 10. Performance on PC is not good. Wait for a sale. Performance on console, from everything I can see, I'm halfway through the PS5 version, it's tip-top. I haven't had any glitches. I love that when you listen to your audio logs or when you're being talked to by your people, it comes through your controller speaker. Xbox doesn't have that function, so that's kind of cool on PlayStation 5. But I couldn't figure out a way to listen to the audio logs while I was out of the menu. I could do it on PC. I can't figure out how to do it on console. There has to be a way. I can't figure it out. Sound design, 10 out of 10. Gameplay. If you would have had dedicated buttons to dodge. Gameplay's a 10. Freaking idiot. Punch him in the face. Gameplay's a 7. It's a 7. That's because there's some things that I feel like work against you, and it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's fun. I had fun. Don't get me wrong, but there's things that go against the mechanics. I don't even know if that's making sense. There's design decisions in place to make you feel more like a badass, but they end up just hindering you, if that makes any sense. So gameplay's a 7. Okay, telekinesis for me was the shining star. I love picking dudes up and chucking them. Replayability, considering I already beat it, I'm already halfway through it on PS5. I plan on beating it on Xbox Series X. Replayability's an 8. I love the atmosphere. I really like the melee combat combined with the telekinesis. The shooting satisfying. The gore is over the top. The dismemberment is over the top. The blood splatter is over the top. Your man gets covered in blood from head to toe. I'll just spin around and look at him saying, yes, bloodbath, baby. The voice acting is you know what I mean? I don't know that actor's name, but I can't say he was a likable character. You're just kind of you know what I mean? You're just kind of indifferent to him. It seems like he was just kind of going through the motions. So story is just like a 6. You know what I mean? So you take all this. I'd give it an 8.5. I'd give it a solid 8.5. I really, really enjoyed it. I do not regret buying it. It sucks the performance is the way it is on PC. Console, I don't see the problem. I haven't had any glitches so far. Again, I'm only halfway through on PS5. Haven't had any glitches outside of like smashing an enemy and he falls on the ground and starts spasming. That happened in Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3. You know what I mean? Something about Glenn Schofield games. So, yeah, haunting atmosphere. I love it, man. Listen, it's my game of the year. You know, I don't care, man. I don't follow mainstream review. I don't care. I had a blast. Most of this game. There wasn't a time until I got to the very end. They do a couple of recycled boss battles that are just kind of like, you know what I mean? But I wasn't annoyed. I was just kind of like, you know, this guy again. You know what I mean? But it was much easier to do after, you know, you do it the first time. So it wasn't a big deal. Just the very end boss fight drove me up the wall. That was super duper annoying. But that's it. That's the only. I thoroughly enjoyed the rest of this. And in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, that's what makes the game. How much of this game did I have fun? Whereas God of War, hours and hours, I'm super annoyed. I'm bored. I'm playing as somebody I don't want to play as. I'm trying to figure out some dumbass puzzle. I'm looking on YouTube. Elden Ring, I'm looking on YouTube constantly. I'm pissed off out of my mind most of the time. This game, I'm just having a blast, and I can't put the damn thing down. In my eyes, that's tip-top. That's game of the year. Gotham Knights, another great game that I feel is severely underrated. I had a blast with Gotham Knights. I plan on doing a review on that. I've been super busy. I'm just dragging on here. There you go. That's your review. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will holler at you guys later.